Good day traders, this is Stefanos on behalf of Tixee, and in today's webinar we'll be giving an outlook of the market for the week of the 20th until the 24th of June. Looking at some of the highlights for next week, we have Boeing, who was given an upgrade, and the meeting minutes from the Reserve Bank of Australia. As always, please note that all of the ideas discussed in this webinar are my own opinions and do not make up for any form of investment, trading advice, neither any recommendations to buy or sell. You should always do your own research and due diligence before buying or selling any securities, financial products, or instruments, and whether you use any kind of trading strategies. And information that relates to past performance is not indicative of future results. So, kicking things off with stocks. As we mentioned during the intro, Boeing was given a price upgrade. Yep, you heard that right. It's an upgrade and not a downgrade. Now, this is something that came as a little bit of a surprise, given the current market environment where we have rampant inflation, we have rising interest rates, and the overall market sentiment. If you've been watching the stock markets for the past couple of weeks, or even since the beginning of the year, you would have already noticed that we've been selling off. Some of the indices are already within bear market territory, like the S&P 500. So this is why seeing the news that Boeing was given a price upgrade came as a little bit of a surprise. Now, the analysts that gave Boeing the price upgrade also came from Citigroup, and the upgrade came in and changed from neutral to buy, with a revised price target of $209. Now, looking at the chart of Boeing, we can see that we're actually sitting way far away from the price target, which is $209. Currently, we're sitting at $133, so this is more or less like $80 increase from the current price levels. Now, if of course we zoom out a little bit and look at the overall change throughout the year, we will of course notice that Boeing has indeed been selling off. But again, this is just like all the other stocks as well. Boeing is just following the overall market movements as well. But this could be seen as something of positive news for Boeing investors specifically. Which it could potentially even be a first hit at Boeing for staging a minor comeback that could even turn to one that could be retesting the highs or these swing levels from the beginning of the year. So yeah, this is with regards to stocks. So yeah, some good news with regards to Boeing at least. Then moving on to Forex. We'll of course be looking at the economic calendar for next week, which again you can very easily find by simply going to Tixee's homepage. You can navigate to this tab, the Education and Research tab. You can click on the economic calendar, and from here you can pretty much readjust the data according to your preference. Now, for the sake of the video, we'll set it to medium and high impact events. Now, as always, please note the timing right here and make sure you're setting the time zone to the one that's most relevant to you. Otherwise, you're going to be looking at the incorrect hours with regards to the release of the particular events. And also, you want to set it to next week, depending on whether you're looking for the events of this week still, the current week, or whether you want to have a look at the events for next week. So, on Monday, it's looking like it's going to be somewhat of a quiet day. We are going to have a speech from the Reserve Bank of Australia Governor, Mr. Lowe, and it's going to be released at midnight. Again, this is going to be UK hours, so definitely keep mind of that. And yeah, this is pretty much I guess I would say the more important event of the day. Then moving on to Tuesday, we're going to have a speech again from the RBA governor, which is actually then going to be followed by the RBA meeting minutes, where they're likely going to be discussing about the interest rate hike cycle for Australia. We did see last week the impact that the interest rate figures had on both they came from the Fed with regards to the US markets, and we also had the figure from the UK. Looking at the euro dollar and then the pound dollar, we saw the kind of movements we had following the release of the figures. Specifically, the euro dollar, it rallied, if you remember, by 200 pips in the hours and on the next day after the event. And conversely, the pound dollar rallied by as much as 300 pips. Now, again, this is not going to be the interest rate figure release. But nevertheless, it's going to be the RBA meeting minutes. So again, we're going to get some hints with regards to what they're planning as far as the rate hike cycle goes for Australia. And as always, you can always use this tooltip right here to gauge more or less the kind of volatility you can expect in the hours following the release of the event. On this occasion, we can see it's more or less like 25 pips. Again, it's not going to be set in stone that it's going to be 25. It could be more, it could be less. But nevertheless, it's still something that you can use towards your advantage. Then moving on for the rest of the day, we're going to have retail sales figure from Canada towards midday, and then finishing the day off with the existing home sales from the US at 3 UK time. Then moving on to Wednesday, it's gonna be quite an eventful day. We're gonna start things off with the monetary policy meeting minutes. This time it's gonna be from the Bank of Japan, close to 1 AM UK time. Then during the normal London/EU session, we're going to have inflation data coming out of the UK. This is then going to be followed from the non-monetary policy meeting from the Eurozone. If exotic currency pairs is the markets that you like trading, then we're going to be having the inflation rate figures coming out from South Africa. This is something you want to pay attention to. Then we're going to have the inflation data coming out of Canada towards midday. And then in the afternoon hours, we're going to be having consumer confidence figures from the EU. So we do have quite a few high impact events. So 2, the rest with some medium impact events, but nevertheless, it's proving to be like somewhat of an eventful day Wednesday next week. Then looking towards Thursday, we're going to be having manufacturing data from Germany. It's going to be at 8:30 in the morning EU time, which is then going to be followed by manufacturing data from the UK at 9:30. Then we're also again on the topic of exotic currency pairs. If that's a market you're trading, you're going to have the interest rate decision from the Turkish Central Bank, which is going to be at midday. And yeah, that's pretty much the other, I guess, more important event of the day. And then Friday is the other day that's going to be quite eventful, as you can already see by the high impact events. Going to be having consumer confidence from the UK at midnight, then followed by inflation figures from Japan at 12:30. Again, it's going to be UK time, obviously early morning hours. Then in the normal London/EU session, we're going to be having retail sales figure from the UK. And then towards, again, it's going to be morning hours EU time, which is going to be the business climate figure from Germany. And then finishing the day and the week off as well, we're going to be having new home sales figure from the US, which is going to be at 3 in the afternoon. So here we even have more high impact events than what we saw on Wednesday instead, and Thursday also. So yeah, Friday is definitely looking like it's going to be one of the key or deciding days for the week next week. Since we're on the topic of the economic calendar, we also have the oil inventory report, but on this occasion, as you can see, it's going to be released on Thursday rather than the usual Wednesday. So if oil is what you're trading, then yeah, definitely keep a note of this, because again, it's not going to be released on Wednesday, but it's going to be on Thursday. Instead, you can see here it's Friday, so the day before it's going to be Thursday, and it's going to be at 4 p.m. in the afternoon. Again, this is UK time. And then lastly, we're going to be looking at cryptos, which last week they had quite an interesting week. If you've been watching the past couple of outlooks and lookbacks that we've been releasing, then you would have noticed what we've been discussing with regards to Bitcoin specifically over the last couple of weeks. This is on the weekly time frame. What we're initially looking at was this little price channel / flag that we're watching right here, since we did have this strong move to the downside. And then we saw that we saw that they had some room to move into this key structure area, which is highlighted in red. So pretty much this level here. And we saw it pretty much ranging for the past like 3 weeks. If we just zoom in a little bit, so you have 1, 2, 3 weeks that it's been ranging within this little red zone right here. And obviously we're just waiting to see what the market direction was going to be. We're waiting for a little bit of a decisive move, and we were discussing that if we were to break towards the downside, we could see a move towards the 20,000 mark, which we can see right here we're pretty much getting right now, because this is the next structure level we can see price reacted off of a couple of years ago, 2017 to be exact. So this is the first like area of resistance that it could face towards the downside. Now we could see a similar pattern to what we saw happening right here, in the sense that we could reach this level and start seeing price ranging here. And again, obviously it's important being patient, because you don't want to be getting caught out. Let's say you're looking at this range and getting caught out at each breakout towards the upside or the downside. You might want to wait for like a retest of the broken level if you want to be more conservative, for example. But in any case, whatever you decide to do, I mean, we do have some defined structured areas to trade off of right now, because we know that we have this level up here if prices choose to continue moving higher from this spot, and then we can see we have this level down here if prices want to continue moving towards the downside. This one is going to be now closing even further to like the $10,000 mark. This one is going to be around 12,000. So definitely quite a considerable downside. I mean, we can see in the span of last week, if we measure this down move right here, you can see it was more than 20% just in one single week. And if we want to measure this from the start of the year, which 2022 was right about here, prices are down by more than 50%. So things are looking a little bit grim with regards to Bitcoin. But nevertheless, it's just been quite an interesting little journey, I guess, since we started looking at this bear flag. Again, all of the videos, you can find them on YouTube, and you can see when we started talking about the potential price movements that could develop with regards to Bitcoin. And yeah, just interesting to see how it's actually playing out right now. And yeah, this wraps up the outlook for next week, for next week's markets. I hope you enjoyed the video and you found it useful, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Until then, trade safe.